Intermarché stay on fire this early season whilst the Belgian wonder kid, not Remco, announces his presence in the 2023 year. This is the inaugural Muscat Classic that happened yesterday. It's a one-day race before the Tour of Oman kicks off. And who have we got here? Astana, long slow-mo. Yes, that's Mark Cavendish with Oakley's on. So that's what people think slowed down the deal with Cav getting signed at Astana, and not just him not wanting to do the preseason training camp, is that that's not their sunglasses sponsor, and yet he's running the Oakley. So that's interesting to see. Rarely see that. This was a hilly one-day race. Poor old Gavin Ackerman don't have much to look forward to on this stage or this day. They have the last climb 1.1 Ks, 10%, about 7 Ks from the finish, and a lot of that's fast descent. So it's going to be a reduced bunch of some description. Whether it's a solo attack, whether it's three guys, whether it's more, I'm not sure, or we weren't sure, and we didn't have kilometer markers, so kind of difficult for me to know exactly what's going on or what to say.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So we'll just have maybe a little bit more artistic interpretation of what happened than normal. But after neutral, Manabu Ishibashi looked like he was going over the right side of the road just to, I don't know, pee or get some water. No one was on his wheel, and then he just attacked. And there was a really strong headwind on this race. I swear a lot of the Middle Eastern races have, unfortunately, Saudi in particular, well, there's been one so far, Saudi Tour this year, have had headwind rather than favourable across tailwind. Decent crowds, though, for this race, actually, through some of the towns. And it kind of looked like they were going past people's, like, actual houses. Not here, obviously. This is a highway climb, which Ishibashi was on. Poor guy he was out there for hours on his own. Peloton was going slow up these climbs. I mean, you don't really need to fight for positioning into the base of them, evidently, because they're 20 bike widths wide. And then when they're in town at Muscat, he knew his time was done. As Desert, Citroën were mowing him down. They've got Vendrame, who's not been that good for them the last year or so. Maybe the Giro 21 last time I remember him was that when he fought with George Bennett and someone else won the stage in the Giro. He got caught. We've got Jente Bermans here for RKS Samsic. We have Quickstep Geordie Wallop, who's from their dev team, but also Van Sevenant, who's a really punchy rider. So how would the teams with a quick man, but with also a puncher, how would they approach the climb? Where someone like Bora, they're just going to go for it. Or someone like Intermarché going to go for it with Menkes and Tarame, who's just come from Altitude at Rwanda. Anyway, Van Sevenant answered that question. He's the bobbing and weaving young Flemish rider for Quickstep. He was kind of just at the front. Maybe the pace wasn't on. I think it was, though. So Wallop's obviously in decent shape. He would eventually make it. Bora were aggressive. First was Zvihoff, and then this is Louis Menkes. And Menkes a big contender for the overall at Tour of Oman with that Green Mountain climb because he's so good on the steep gradients. You saw he won the Les Prairies stage in the Vuelta from the break on that ramp in Humanas. UAE have Ulisi from a reduced group, but they'll want it reduced. Tarame counterattacks off Menkes, and there's no kilometer markers here. This is where I did watch the live stream, the last sort of 25 Ks last night. That was just the overhead. Here's Roger Adria attacking young, good rider for Kern Farmer. He's going to be in World Tour soon. Ulisi on his wheel. So Ulisi really wants a group of 4-5. Maybe he's not working hard enough in there, but I think he was pulling full gas there and trying to get a group of 4 or 5 to go, but it just didn't happen. The groups kept coming back. The climbs weren't long enough. Maybe the stage hadn't been hard enough. Like Tarame did 2 watts for the first hour or something. And this is, I believe, Jan Uterbrooks, the Belgian super talent on Bora Hansgrohe, sunscreened SPF 50'd out of his mind. At least I hope it's him. It's still early season, so with all the new kits, I'm trying to make sure I've got everyone correct. I know Ida Schelling was very active in this stage. Same with, this race. Aliotti, I'm expecting something from GC-wise in the Tour of Oman too. But it all came back together. Ajdazer were trying to keep it together. Movistar had Canter, but then Sosa got dropped. So I don't know how he's going to go on GC. And on these big highway run-ins, the groups have such an advantage, even though there isn't much flat at all before the finish. So here's the last kilometer, and it's really important in a group of, let's say, 25, 30 riders here, that when you do have teammates, or if you do have teammates, to find those teammates quickly so that you can actually save. Because if you're at the back here, they're doing 65 kilometers an hour, let's say, through that through that round about 60 kilometers an hour, you want to find your teammates. And here's RK. They've got two riders, one of which is Beermans, and I think this either Delaplace or Rodriguez, who's just moved from Total, sees Beermans is in good position, third wheel, moves up, starts doing a lead up, but Beermans actually got squeezed off his wheel a little bit, and that really helps him because he's not at the front too soon. We'll see Astana do get organized. They have Lushenko. They find each other in the group on the left-hand side here, but Lushenko just goes up too early, whereas we'll see with UAE, with Quickstep, and sort of with Ajdazer, although they were leading out, more Quickstep and UAE, the culprits here, that they don't find their teammates. Now, maybe they were coming back and they only just got to the group now, but I'm not so sure in the case of Van Stevenot and Warlop. And here you see Ulysses race, even though he's probably never winning from this group anyway. But his race or chance of a podium result is finished right here. I think he's following the Burgos rider. I think maybe Langolotti, the Monegasque. He's pretty decent. And then he just hits the wind way too early. And you see Quickstep as well. I mean, Warlop's kind of front anyway, so he gets his chance, but he also has to hit the wind pretty early. He's eating a bit of wind on Busato's wheel. And yeah, Ulysses moving up here, that's it. You can't win like that. And he's still sitting in the wind off camera here. And Lushenko goes to front. The finish is slightly uphill. We've got Ida Schelling, I believe, second wheel for Bora Hansgrohe, and Maxim van Gils for Lotto's Destiny, who won Saudi Tour around this time last year. But Beermans comes from the back, goes around Warlop, those barriers. Lushenko chooses to live, wise decision, and Beermans wins his first pro race, the uphill finish in the inaugural Muscat Classic. Two Dev riders in the top four, Busato fourth, and that was Vendrame who came in third, just pipping Busato, but Busato was pretty impressive. Warlop two. Yeah, let me know down below. What do you think? What's your story about what happened in this race? I'll be keen to hear it. How do you think the teams played it? Did you like the circuit? Here's what Beermans had to say after his win.
Amazing. It's my first pro victory, and after 2 weeks ago I had my first podium, and now I have my first victory, and this is very emotional for me. And the team really believed in me all day long. All the teammates worked amazing for me, put me always in a good position. They were screaming on me on the last climb, come on. I was one of the last guys. And I survived, and then in the sprint, this is a perfect finish for me with a slightly uphill at the end, and I had enough power left, and we did it as a team.
We've got the Tour of Oman starting tonight. It's the only sprint stage. Cavendish, I don't know why he's here. He doesn't even have Bowler's lead out here, so that'll be curious to see how he goes. Maybe he's just training. Subscribe if you want to see that, and I'll see you then. Ciao.